When the person you trusted the most becomes the one who breaks you, really breaks you, it can feel like your story is just over. But today, we're going to look at this from a totally different angle, one that reframes this devastating end as, believe it or not, a powerful new beginning. What if this pain, this gut-wrenching, world-shattering pain, isn't just an ending? What if it's actually an invitation? An invitation to become someone so strong, so grounded in who you are, that no one ever gets to have this kind of power over your soul again. And let's be really, really clear about this. This isn't just a breakup. That doesn't even begin to cover it. The feeling is more like an earthquake rattling your entire soul. It's such a profound shock because what got shattered wasn't just a relationship. It was something much, much deeper. And that leads us right into our first big idea, really understanding why this hurts so much. Because, it's about way more than just the act of betrayal itself. There's actually a term for this, identity collapse. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the complete shattering of a core belief. See, you didn't just lose a person, you lost the version of you that felt safe, the one that truly believed, this is my person, I'm safe here. This right here, this insight is so powerful. The grief you're feeling, it isn't just for the person standing in front of you now. It's for the character you thought they were. You're mourning the beautiful story you wrote in your head, the future you were so sure about, the illusion that this time it was real. And this collapse, it hits you from all sides. Your sense of safety in the world, gone. The future you were planning, day by day, it just evaporates. And then you start to doubt yourself, your own mind, asking, how could I have been so blind? How did I miss this? And it's so important to recognize, for trans and non-binary people, this can hit even harder. It can poke at those deep, painful wounds of dysphoria, reinforcing horrible feelings of not being worthy or enough. It's just an incredibly cruel layer of pain.
Okay, so how do we even begin to climb out of this? Well, it starts with one of the most important mindset shifts you will ever make, understanding that their actions were a reflection of their internal chaos and had absolutely nothing to do with your value.
And we have to get this straight. This is not a man thing. This is not a woman thing. Betrayal is a human thing. It's a flaw, plain and simple, usually driven by deep insecurities, a lack of self-control, or just plain old immaturity. It's a painful part of the human condition, not some targeted attack on who you are. I want you to picture this as two completely separate things. Over here, on one side, you've got all their inner chaos. This black hole that needs constant validation, unhealed trauma from their past, a desperate need for attention, and then way over here, on the other side, is your value, your worth. And the two, they are not connected. Their behavior is a symptom of their sickness, not a measure of your health. Please, let this one sink in. Just breathe it in for a second. Their emptiness is not your lack. You could have been the perfect partner, given them everything, and they could still have done this. Why? Not because you were missing something, but because they were empty inside. Their search for more was about trying to fill a hole in them, not about any deficit in you. Now, when you're hurting this badly, it is so natural to want them to feel that same pain. Of course it is. But we have to talk about the trap of revenge, because it's one of the easiest ways to keep yourself stuck. So why is it a trap? Well, because every single thing you do to try and get a reaction from them keeps you chained to them emotionally. Your happiness, your peace, it all starts depending on whether they notice, whether they respond, whether they care. You're not moving on, you're just reacting. And honestly, it often drags you right down to the same level of behavior that hurt you in the first place. This is where we have to totally redefine what strength looks like. Real strength isn't about winning some fight or getting the last word in. No way. True power is in disciplined detachment. It's the quiet dignity of walking away, hitting block, and just refusing to play their game anymore. It's saying, you know what, my energy is way too valuable for this circus. Okay, so if revenge is a dead end, what's the real path forward? How do you actually get your power back? It all comes down to a concept called emotional responsibility. And this, right here, is the key that unlocks everything. Now listen, this distinction is absolutely critical. This is not about blaming yourself for what they did. Not at all. They own that 100%. This is about taking complete, radical ownership of your healing. They might have created the mess,
but you are the one who gets to decide how you clean it up and rebuild. That power belongs to you and you alone. Taking ownership means you start asking different questions. The question, why did they do this to me, leaves you powerless, stuck waiting for an answer you'll probably never get. But when you start asking, okay, what red flags did I ignore? Why did I stay even when my gut was screaming at me? Well, those questions give you power. They give you wisdom that will protect you for the rest of your life. You know, after you've been hurt this badly, the natural instinct is to build a giant fortress around your heart, right? 100-foot wall, a moat filled with alligators, the whole 9 yards. But there's a huge difference between building walls and setting healthy boundaries. And the difference is everything. Look, walls are built from fear. They scream, no one gets in here, ever again. And you know what they do? They just isolate you. Boundaries, on the other hand, they're built from self-respect and clarity. They don't shout, they filter. They say, not just anyone gets in here anymore. You have to be worthy of this space. One is a prison you build for yourself. The other is a gate you control. And here's the secret about real boundaries. You don't have to announce them with a bullhorn. You don't need a big, dramatic speech. You just live them. They're in the quiet way you walk away from disrespect. They're in your refusal to argue or over-explain yourself. They are the consistent, daily act of choosing you. So, all of this, the pain, the reframing, the rebuilding, the boundaries, it all leads to this one final, massive question. You're at a crossroads, and you are left with a choice. The ultimate goal, the thing we're aiming for, is to live above the offense. Now, that does not mean you pretend it didn't happen or that it didn't hurt like hell. Of course not. It means you acknowledge the pain, you honor it, but you refuse to let it become your new address. You don't let their ugly chapter define your entire book. So what does that path forward actually look like? Well, it's a series of conscious choices. First, you rise. You decide you won't stay down. Then you do the hard work to heal. From that healing, you grow. You learn the lessons. Then you upgrade your standards for what you'll accept in your life. You guard your peace like it's the most precious thing you own. And finally, you walk forward. Not with bitterness, but with undeniable dignity. And let's just end on this thought, because it really sums up the whole journey. You can't stop people from hurting you. It's going to happen. That is just part of life. But your real, unshakable power, it's in the choice you make after they do it. You get to decide if this experience is going to break you or build you. So, that's the question I want to leave you with. Really think about it. This pain can be a poison that sickens you for years, or it can be the very medicine that helps you become the strongest, wisest, most authentic version of yourself. The choice, right now, is yours. Who will you become